let's get right into it. So, Treasure Planet from the year 2002. I had seen this movie before, but not for a long time. I've seen it as a kid, and I recently-ish anyway, I reviewed Titan AE, which was before this, and this was back when Fox Animation Studios was competing with Disney, and Fox Animation Studios had a breakout hit with Anastasia. At least it did okay, well enough for them to finance another film, Titan AE, a space adventure, which this is also a space adventure, but this is more specifically, they're both similar, to be fair, in a lot of ways, but this one is specifically an adaptation of Treasure Island, hence the name Treasure Planet. So it's sort of a space-themed, almost steampunky version of Treasure Island, the Robert Louis Stevenson novel. But I know it best from the Muppets Treasure Island. That's probably the version of the story that I know the best of Treasure Island. But anyways, let's get into the basic plot. So, if you know the basic plot of Treasure Island, you know the basic plot of Treasure Planet, but I'll lay it down, Treasure Planet, for you. So we have our character, young Jim, who is rebellious, and he's a teenager, and he's sassy, but he's very smart, and he finds a guy. He's always getting into trouble, but then he finds a guy that's hurt, and he has a map for this lost treasure that's been fabled, and it's a legend all over the galaxy. So they have this map that's in the form of a ball that only he can open somehow, and this other pirate is trying to find it, but him and a doctor voiced by David Hyde Pierce, also known as Niles Crane from Frasier, they hire a captain and a crew to go on an expedition to try to find this treasure. And that is the plot of the movie. So 69% is what it gets. So it's fresh. That's not so bad. This movie didn't do great in the box office. I think it did better than Titan AE, because Titan AE literally shut down Fox Animation Studios because it bombed, and they spent so much money on it. But obviously Disney, even with a few bombs, they can usually shake it off because they got so much money. But yeah, 69% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty good, and 72% audience score. So they're pretty close too, the audience score and the critic score. Let's look at some of the reviews. Outer Space Pirate Treasure Hunt, lots of fun. Fab Animation, top critic. By following its story as closely as they have, the filmmakers have retained much of what made the novel a classic. Okay, so those are all good reviews. It's laced with literate humor, and the directors cite N.C. Wyeth's illustrations for the 1911 Scribner's edition of Treasure Island as the inspiration for the marvelously detailed fantasy world. Yeah, okay, whatever. That was a little wordy, but it's fine. This is a bad review, a rotten review. Without the pizzazz of computer animation, you can see how it will struggle to find its target audience. But it has the pizzazz of computer animation. It has the pizzazz. And it still struggled to find its target audience because it failed in the box office. But I like the movie, though. If they're saying they didn't like it, I think they are. Aiken to be Extreme, well-made Saturday morning cartoon, great for hyperactive 4-year-olds or hungover students. Not worth a trip to the pictures. Okay, 2 out of 5. Huh? That's a sort of mixed bag. Like, they kind of liked it, but they gave it a failing rating, 2 out of 5. The overall tone of this rocket-paced updating is exhilaratingly giddy, making it by far Disney's best animated film since Mulan. Okay, I like this, but fuck Mulan. Mulan's like the best one, debatably. Like, it would be on my top 3 for Disney films, probably. Like, it's that good. But anyway, those are some Rotten Tomatoes reviews. Let's go to the IMDb page. So, 7.2 out of 10 it gets, which is decent. Not so bad. But yeah, I like this movie. I think it looked really good with the combination of the CGI and the traditional animation. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is Jim. Okay, I didn't really recognize him, but that's I know who that is. He's in the Dark Knight movies, or at least Dark Knight Rises. He was in Third Rock from the Sun. He's in a movie called 50-50. He's in a lot of stuff. Emma Thompson. Martin Short is Ben the robot. I was wondering who he was, because I figured he was someone famous. I felt it. I knew it. Martin Short was Ben the robot. But yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was the main character. Who else here do I recognize? David Hyde Pierce, who I already said, is Dr. Doppler, better known as Niles Crane from Frasier, like I said. And that's pretty much everyone I know. So let's just keep moving on and look at the box office information. Holy shit, the budget was so high on this. This is where they made the problems, is that they made the budget too high. So of course this was also a flop. I think this was less of a flop than Titan AE, but it's still a flop. $140 million budget. It's too high budget for this. It does look great, but fuck, that's a big budget. And 110 million gross worldwide. So they lost 30 million. Maybe they might made it back after DVDs and stuff. It's possible, but not good. Still considered a flop for sure. But yeah, I like this movie. That's the end of the IMDb page. So let's look at the notes. Banshees of Inisherin notes. Let's get to the Treasure Island notes. So my first note, I already kind of said this, but the CGI and the regular animation mix a little bit smoother than Titan AE. So I didn't say that exactly, that it's smoother than Titan AE, but yeah, it is. I think Titan AE was a little bit before this one, and I don't know, maybe Disney had put more money into it or something, but the integration of CGI mixed with the traditional animation is just, yeah, like I said, way smoother than in Titan AE. It just looks a little better, a little more fine-tuned than Titan AE. David Hyde Pierce is one of my notes. We already talked about him. He is in this movie. They make it futuristic but old at the same time. I kind of like this. It's that steampunk sort of look. They look like they're in the 1800s or whenever the book was written. Let's look that up, actually. When was Treasure Island written? Treasure Island release date. $1883, so it was 1800s. That's what I thought. So, yeah, they have these sort of like the hats and the garments that they would wear in the 1800s, but they have these ships that can go through space, and I like that. I thought it looked good. Looks interesting. It works for the movie's aesthetic, and of course, it reminds you of the source material, and I think that works to its advantage. Guy, not captain, but he's wearing the hat. Okay, so this is a really minor note, but there's a character, I forget his name, but I think he's the Admiral. He looks sort of like a rock monster man, and he is not the captain, but you think he's the captain. I thought he would be, just because of the hat only. Of course, the woman is the captain, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with the woman being the captain. That makes sense. There's nothing wrong with that. Women can be a captain. But my problem is, give her a hat. Give her the hat. Let her have the hat. Anyway, that's a minor note. Let her have the nice hat. The captain hat. Or I guess it's the Admiral hat, but I'd think of that as the captain hat. The sort of triangular, like Napoleon Bonaparte hat. Right away, I like Morph. So Morph is one of the best characters. He's this little shape-shifting pink blob. Reminds me kind of the Pokemon Ditto. And he's always getting into mischief. He's kind of like a dog. He's lovable. And he's getting into mischief, like I said. And he does talk sometimes, but It's very cute, and I like the way they use the fact that he's a shape-shifting alien. It's more interesting than a parrot, because I think that's what he's sort of replacing in Island, in Treasure Island. I think he's replacing the parrot. Anyway, I guess they can breathe in space, is one of my notes. And yeah, I'll let this slide, but I just wanted to write it down because, I mean, they're in space. I get it. It's not, this isn't even our universe because it looks so different, and they're in spaceships that look like boats on the water, so it's completely different. And the fact that they can breathe in space, it's a cartoon. Like, I should just get over it. I get it. But I just wanted to write that down. It felt noteworthy, that's all. The creature designs are dope. There's lots of different alien designs, lots of different creature designs in this, and I think lots of them are very intricate, and it looks really nice. And I like to see that in space movies. This is another thing I think they did better than Titan AE, the little bit of mix of aliens. There's a lot of human characters in Titan AE. There's some alien characters, but I feel like there's more human characters, and that's a little less interesting to me. If you're gonna do it in this space futuristic world, might as well put in some funky alien characters, and this movie did that, so I like that. Cheesy flashback and working montage. So there's a part in the movie where, and they do a scene kind of like this in Titan AE too, where they have a song playing, and it's a cheesy 90s alternative rock song, and they're going around, or pop song more so in this case, but in Titan AE was kind of alternative 90s rock. But in this one's the early 2000s. I think Titan AE is 90s. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, this montage of him like getting along with the pirate. It's the case of the pirate is like he's also looking for the treasure. That's a part of the plot too. I should point out in case you don't know. I forget the name of him, but he's basically Blackbeard. Or is it Blackbeard or Long John Silver? I forget what the pirate's name is in Treasure Island, but I do think that it's the same villain. Like, that's what this guy is. He's a part of this montage. They're being friends. They're getting into all sorts of antics. It's just really cheesy, just the way the song's playing, and it's the showing that they're bonding montage. Look at them. Oh yeah, maybe he's not all that bad, the evil pirate. Maybe not, that kind of thing. I like how he just knows how the map works. Jim can just use the map that's this mystical ball, and he just figures it out. I get that he's supposed to be smart, but just like right away, click, click, clack, boom, he figures it out. And I get that that's also part of the joke, so I'll let it slide, but still seems a little crazy that he just knows it automatically. But I'll let it slide for the plot's sake. Bomb goes off at a very convenient time for the plot. So there's a part where they get to the treasure, and we find out that it's been rigged by the original captain, Captain Fling, who got all this treasure here, to explode. But we don't find out that it's going to explode until quite a bit after that they're in there looking at the treasure. So you think that if it was booby-trapped and he didn't want anyone to get away with the treasure, like they say in the movie, that he would have it rigged up to explode immediately upon entrance, and then they wouldn't have time to escape like they do, because they have a lot of time to escape, and they obviously end up escaping. It's crazy, but it doesn't make enough sense. It doesn't make enough sense. The bomb goes off at a very convenient time for the plot. Like, I get it. It has to, sort of, but I did think that was a little silly. So it takes so long to explode. It sort of goes with the last point, that it goes off at a convenient time, and it takes so long to explode so they can escape, and so that the plot can work. So I thought that part was a little contrived, but so that maybe brought it down a little bit for me, but I still like this movie quite a bit. more good about it than bad. Definitely gets the passing grade. We'll see how high in a moment here. But why doesn't mom come on the journey? So right before they go on this journey to find the treasure, the mom's restaurant that she's working at and owns, I guess, too, burns down because of Jim. And I don't know, I just think she would have wanted to come on the journey with him, but she just lets them go. So she can keep an eye on him too, but I guess that's sort of part of the point, that he's supposed to go on an adventure and become a man or whatever. I don't know. But I still think that the mama should have gotten to come and keep an eye on her son, or at least that she should have wanted to come, you know? But there's just no talk of it. She's just not going. I guess it's dangerous, but she doesn't want him to go either, I guess, so that, I guess it kind of makes sense, but I still think that they should have brought up the notion of her coming on the journey in some way. But oh well, I digress. Why not fill pockets with treasure immediately? So there's lots of movies that I feel this way. Because this, Pirates of the Caribbean, other movies where they get into the treasure and then there's a booby trap and they have to get out of there. So what I would do in this case, as soon as you get it, just start filling your pockets. Maybe you have a bag. Start filling your bag with as much treasure as you can handle, and then get out of there before the thing explodes or whatever booby trap goes off. But no one ever fills up their pockets immediately. They go up and they're like, oh yeah, look at the treasure. It's so pretty. I'm going to run it through my fingers and shit. It's like, no, get out of there. What are you doing? You're stupid. Just fill your pockets, put it in a bag, get out of there. That's what would make sense. That being said, even though some parts were silly, like the explosion takes too long and stuff, and is a little too convenient to the plot, in my opinion, I still think that it's a good climax, and it's exciting, and the action looks really good, and it's a well-told story, even though it is an old story. It's well-told with a new sort of space lens on it, and I like that. I like this movie. And I gotta say, it was pretty good. I'm gonna give it a rating now, I think. Treasure Planet. Do I think it's better than Titan AE? I do think it's better than Titan AE, but I also like Titan AE. But I like this too. And Treasure Planet Treasure Island is such a classic storyline that, you know, the Muppets can do it, and this can do it, and those movies can all be good, even though it's rehashing the same story. Just like the Christmas Carol has been done to death a million times, but I still watch the Muppets Christmas Carol. You know, I'd do it. It could be a good time. But anyway. Oh, I'm just realizing that I didn't spell Treasure Planet right on here. So let's just fix that. I spelled Treasure Playette or Plate, but let's do Treasure Planet. Whoopsie. So let's give it, like I said, not perfect, but pretty fun movie. I'm gonna give it 7.5. I think it's that good. It was, for an animated kids film, it was pretty exciting. I could see, and I remember quite liking this as a kid too. It's fun, well made. Like I said, the amount of, or the way they do the CGI mixed with the traditional animation is excellent. It's a fun space-paced adventure. And yeah, it's on Disney Plus if you want to check it out. 7.5 out of 10 dogs. Treasure Planet.